Hi, this is Kim McQuitty. I'm the founder of the Wife Ready Bootcamp. Thank you for joining me this evening. I just wanted to spend a few minutes to talk to you about today's post, and it's about unrealistic expectations. I posted that because unrealistic expectations are a huge source of contention in relationships. I know it was one in mine. And one of the areas where I felt like it was a source of contention was in the areas of money. Whenever you get married, you're going to bring to the table with you your experience and your expectation. Your experience for maybe your parents' relationship. It may have been a past relationship. It will be expectations of what you expect in this particular relationship. But an unrealistic expectation is something that someone is ignorant of, they are unwilling to, or unable to provide. One of my biggest expectations in my marriage is that I expected my husband to be the one who managed the money. That was my experience growing up. That was the experience that I had with my father. My father took care of the bills. I didn't want to do that. I did not want to take care of the bills. I did not want to have anything to do with the money. I'm not a spender, but I didn't want the weight of what it takes to budget, to find the money to rob Peter, to pay Paul when you're first getting married and figure everything out. I just wanted to be the wife. I wanted to run the house. I wanted to do everything I needed to do. I did not want to manage the money. My husband was a phenomenal worker, a hard worker, and he knew how to make it. And he would always tell me, say, Kim, you're better at managing it and spending and doing the bills than I was. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to be bothered with it because that was not my experience. My experience is that you're the man, you're taking care of that. If you're the man, that's what your responsibility is. But that was not his strong suit. And he would tell me, you're better at it. I need you to want to take the reins. I'm like, no, I figured if you do it long enough, you'll learn how to do it. But it was never his strong suit. And it was always a source of contention because he didn't do it like I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it myself. It was unrealistic of me to try to put pressure on him to do something that he was not accustomed to doing, nor if he felt comfortable or nor was he gifted to do. And again, that was no slight on him. I do want to talk about three unrealistic expectations that a lot of us have or probably will take into a marriage, and I know I was guilty of them as well. One of them is expecting him to know how you feel without you having to express it. Okay, first of all, this is what I tell my clients when I'm counseling. Communication kills assumption. I know he should have figured it out by now. That certain look you give him, he should know by now. I know the time of the month, he should know by now. But unless you are communicating what you feel or what you need, he has no idea. Men have a one-track mind. I'm telling you, I'm trying to figure out, and I say this with as much grace as possible, but how did he get the position of lead? How did he get the position of headship in the family? They have a one-track mind, and you can be sitting in the room. I know y'all can agree with this. We're sitting in the room with him, talking to him, and he ain't heard a thing you said because he's got his eyes on whatever he's doing, the TV or whatever, and he's in tune. They really are single-minded. And they're very non-complex. They don't think a lot about a whole bunch of things. Men actually have what you call is a nothing box. I don't know how that's possible with a man, but they do. You can walk up to them and they will say, what do you think? You ask them, what are you thinking about, honey? And his response will be nothing. And as a woman, we're thinking, how in the sand hill can you not be thinking about nothing? Of all the things that we do would have to do, but they know how to sit and think about nothing. We don't know how to do that as women. But we can't assume that they know what we're thinking about or what we feel or what we need or what we are desiring. We have to express it. They aren't mind readers. They have no clue unless we share it. Not many. How many times you told them? Doesn't matter how many times you've told them, they still need to be communicated to and told this, that, or the other. Number two, another thing that we deal with in marriages when it comes down to a man and an unrealistic expectation, and we can do this consciously or subconsciously, is trying to change him. We can inspire him, we can impress upon him, and we can even share some things with him. But at the end of the day, what you see will always be, and even more so in marriage. Let's say that you're a career woman, that you're aspiring to be a doctor, to get your doctorate degree in whatever it is, and he is a man of trades. He's not into the degree. He's not into doing all of that. You want him to go back to school to learn the business side of that, which will further advance his career and further advance you as a family financially and open up other opportunities. but that's not where his desire is. He may have even communicated to you when you all were dating that he's not college material. That's not something he ever aspires to be. That's not ever something he aspires to do. You will not change him into being something that he's not. It doesn't happen that way. And sometimes we go around the mountain with this idea, thinking that if we push long enough, if we press long enough, if we suggest long enough, that we would convince him and he would change. But I have come to find out that any change that is not of his own opinion and not of his own desire is only going to backfire. He has to be the one that has the idea and getting aside the change. Even if you have a great idea concerning your family and he is not the one that suggested, you can say something about it, and 2 or 3 weeks he'll come to you like it's his idea. Give him the credit. Give him the credit. I mean, I know you said something to him and he think it is his, but let him think it's his. Don't trump him. Let him think it's his, and it'll pay off in the long run if you do that. But you cannot change him. You cannot change him to be something that you aspire him to be. Even maybe coming down to the way that the man dressed. Even, I mean, you can maybe buy some things for him and suggest he do this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, what you see will always be, and even more when you get married. Whatever you saw before you got married is going from 1 to 100, and it could be on a number of levels. It could be from the way he spends. It can be from the way that he does things. He could be a workaholic. You think that's great in the beginning, but when you got 2 or 3 or 4 kids in tow afterwards, that ain't such a good idea. There need to be some boundaries. The last thing I want to talk about, an unrealistic expectation that's a huge source of contention in marriage, is thinking that marriage is going to make you happy. Any married women out there who's out there know what I'm talking about, that marriage does not make you happy. You make marriage happy. It is not your responsibility to make for his happiness, and it is not his responsibility for your happiness. You are the one who decides how happy you are. You are the CEO of you. You're the one that brings the happiness to the marriage. You're the one that brings happiness. Is an inside job. It's circumstantial and it's fleeting. So I wouldn't want to put all of my desires into an imperfect person to depend on them to make me happy. Marriage does not heal you, and being single won't kill you. It is not the antidote to loneliness. It really isn't. Marriage is a lot of work. And if you're thinking being single and finally getting to the end of the singlehood and getting to the altar and getting married is gonna change things, and they lived happily ever after, that's a lie. You can live happily, but it won't be forever after. There'll be ebbs and there'll be flows. Your marriage won't be on 10 every day. It just won't. It will not be. There's some days you ain't gonna want to be married. There's some days you're gonna want to be by yourself. But that doesn't change the circumstances of who you are and what you've committed to. It's not going to make you happy all the time. That's fleeting, and it's all predicated on you and how you see yourself and what you're bringing to the table. And the same way with him. Whatever, he should not expect you to make him happy. That's not your job. It is not your job. It is not your responsibility to make this man happy. You can add to it. You can take away from it, but it's not your sole responsibility. Because when you go into a relationship, you have to go into this thing 100% whole. Fully you, marrying fully him. It can't be half jacked up you, marrying half jacked up him, because you're going to have jacked up kids, and a jacked up relationship is only going to perpetuate brokenness. You have to go into this thing whole. So you can't go into this thing looking like you wanting him to complete you, because you should already be complete in who you are. You should go into this thing looking like for him to compliment you. And the only thing that a man should ever want to change about you is your last name, period. He shouldn't want to, if he's trying to change you into be something that he's not, that you're not, that's a red flag. That is not for you to change who you are as a person. Only thing he should want to change about you is your last name, and you cannot change him. Before I sign off, I want to say thank you again for joining me. We're going to be back here next week again on Thursday on Wife Ready to Chat. But I want to say right now I'm in Chicago, and I am speaking at the Women's Conference for a free church. The website is freechurch.co. If you are in the Chicago area, I believe they do still have tickets available. The conference starts tomorrow night on through Saturday morning. No, it goes on to Sunday morning, but I'm speaking on Saturday morning at 10:30. I'm going to be speaking. And if you are in the Chicago area, we'd love to have you. I believe they will make room for you. And also, if you are in the Atlanta area, July 13th and 14th, I will be doing a Wife Ready Boot Camp Intensive. You may ask what that is. The link is in my bio, but I will say, if you do come to this boot camp, it's for the single women. This one is for single women only. I will do one for engaged women. I will do one for married women, but this particular one is for single women only. The link is in my bio if you want to learn more about it, but I do guarantee if you do come to this boot camp, you will be changed. You will be challenged. You will take a deep, hard look at the inside of who you are and decide if you are really ready to be married, or if you even want to be married. You really will. I love marriage. Marriage is a wonderful God idea. It is one of the best relationships you will ever have on the planet. But my job, my responsibility, I feel like my purpose in life and the desire that God has given me to enrich women's lives is to show them the perspective about marriage that a lot of times we don't see on this side. That is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's work that's worth it. It's work that will pay off in the end. One more thing before I sign off, I am excited about my new book, Unsave the Date, Are You Wife Ready? We are one step away from me having it in your hands. The pre-orders will be taken really soon, probably in the next few weeks or so. If you stay tuned here on Instagram or on my website, you'll know when we are accepting orders for pre-orders. I am excited about this resource. I wish this was something that was available when I got married. Coming up on would have been 30 years ago. A little bit about my story. I am currently a widow. My husband passed away about 5 years ago. But I still have a passion for women, still have a passion for marriage. We did marriage ministry together. And I always wondered how God was going to use that after he was gone, after he was uncoupled. And God took the fragments of what I didn't know, could never even have imagined of my life, and made something so wonderful from it. And he's taken my ministry of women's ministry for over 25 years, and the marriage ministry that we have, and Wife Ready was born out of that. So this is the book that I wish I had 30 years ago. Because 30 years ago is when I was dating, and I got married at 20 years old. I didn't know a whole lot. I was in love, but I didn't know how much work was involved in being married and staying in love. The romance has to be worked for. The business of marriage is going to become easy. But I'm not going to get into a lot of that. The book will be out this summer. We will be doing a book release in my hometown, the city of Detroit. I am so excited about that. Be staying tuned. The more closer we get to that release date, I'll let you know. Actually, it's going to be a book release boot camp weekend in August. We're just trying to solidify a date. We're trying to solidify a venue. But those of you in Detroit, I want to put that plug out there. I want to see you. I want to shake your hands. I want to talk to you. And then that's on a Friday night. And that Saturday morning, we're getting up, we're coming in. And this will be for any woman, married, engaged, single, widow, divorced, and even as complicated. Those who are in situationships. We will be doing a Wife Ready Boot Camp book signing release in my hometown, the city of Detroit. I'm excited. All of my people are still in Detroit. I'm excited about this. So stay tuned for that. But until next week, Wife Ready to Chat, we'll be talking about another subject that we post here. And I hope you guys can join me. And I thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.